and me, Kane, Jelly Roll, and Post Malone ended up playing beer pong all night.
If you could undo a trend or technology that's in the industry now, what would you do?
Social media.
I don't even need to
That's going to be a very unpopular answer. Dude, I was starving.
Is there one Jason Aldean song that was a hit that at first you were like, I don't think this one?
Big Green Tractor.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I thought the song was cool, and I cut it, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. But I never, to this day, that's my longest. That song was number one for 4 weeks, and I've never had another song stay for 4 weeks. And Michael Knox, my producer, was the one that sort of talked me into, I'm telling you, man, there's something about this song. And I just don't typically put out songs that are a little tongue-in-cheek lyric that are, like talking about a tractor. Like, it's just not.
So you had to be talked into it.
I had to be talked into putting it out as a single.
Wow.
I thought the song was cool. I had it on the record, but it was like, that was a song that people, once the album came out, people were kind of, gravitating towards and stuff. And it was like, man, I'm telling you. And I'm like, really? That one? So,
Tell me about, I'm going to show you a picture. Tell me about this night.
That was great, man. That was at the ACM's after party. And I don't know, man. We were out in Frisco, and everybody was looking for some sort of after party to get into. And I don't know. We just kind of got on a little thread. Me, Kane Brown, Jelly Roll, and I'm like, what's going on? And so somebody found this bar right outside of town, and we show up at this bar and end up taking this thing over. And me, Kane, Jelly Roll, and Post Malone ended up playing beer pong all night in the middle of this thing. But it was so fun, man. And that's one of the things I love about, the award shows and those kind of things is it's not so much the show. I mean, the show is cool, but it's the stuff like that where you get to hang out with your boys and just kind of have some fun and things that we don't typically get to do a lot of throughout the year. So it was a good night, man. It was fun.
How do you feel about like pop stars like Post Malone coming in the country?
I think it depends. I think country music, to me, it seems like country's one of those things that, whenever somebody's career maybe is doing not as well as it once did, sometimes they always like to come over to country. I don't think that's the case with Post. I think he's just a country fan that likes to, loves the people in the genre. He loves the music. And I think the country music fans, and a lot like they did with Kid Rock, will kind of welcome him with open arms. They won't do that for everybody, but I think he's a guy that country music fans like. They like his music, feel like he kind of fits in with what we do here. It's not, trying to force a whatever it is, square peg in a round hole kind of thing.
Right.
Like it makes more sense with him, I think, him and guys like Kid Rock. So I love his music. He's super cool. I had a good time hanging out with him, and I see he's kind of doing stuff with a lot of different artists now, and who knows, we may do something with him at some point. I don't know for sure, but he's a guy that I think could thrive in this business in our genre more so than a lot of the other pop guys that try to come over here and do that.
Yeah, he's worked with what's he working with? Morgan Wallen, Blake Shelton. You got to be on his list. I mean, you're right there.
I've been saying I wanted to do something with him for years. So, but I really just met him recently. So, who knows, man? I'm always a person that like the song has to be right. The idea of doing something when somebody's cool, but you got to have the right song too. So, if we ever find that, I got his number. I'll send it to him and see what happens. But
what do you think differentiates like the Darius Ruckers and the Post Malones that crossover from like the Jessica Simpsons that like didn't make it and they try?
I don't know, man. I just think like, Post I think he's a true country music fan. It's like, yeah, he was he's a pop guy and sort of doing, his version of what that was, which was really cool. But I think underneath it all, I mean, he's from Texas. He's a country music guy, right? So he grew up liking country music. And I think it's not that far-fetched. I think with Darius, it was the same thing. He was an actual country music fan. He grew up listening to that stuff. And, he had a little bit of a background in that. And, and I think that's a lot of it. It's not like you're trying to convince somebody you're something you're not. Like he's not trying to convince anybody he's a George Strait. I mean, he's not George Strait. He's Post Malone, but he does what he does, and he loves country music, and the artists that are in this in our genre, our format, respect him and like what he does too. So it's just it just makes sense, you know.
Dude, we're coming up on 20 years since Hicktown, bro.
Oh, yeah, we are. 20
years, man. Do you think you'll make it into the Country Music Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I mean, that's not for me to decide. I feel like, is that something that I would love to happen? Obviously, yes. I mean, and I feel like when it comes to that stuff, I feel like you just have to do what you do, let your career and all those things kind of speak for itself, and then just hope that, you know, if it's ever your time that, you know, people, you know, the votes come your way and people respect what you've done with your career. And, but that's not for me to decide. And so if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, that sucks, but it's been fun. You know what I
mean? And what, like, did you ever dream you would have as much success? Like when you were putting out Hicktown, did you ever dream this big?
No.
Like, what was your ceiling when you were putting out Hicktown?
Dude, I was starving. I mean, I was, you know, had a brand new baby. My oldest daughter had just been born. Didn't have any money. So I wasn't thinking like long term. It was like, I need to get this song going just so I can generate some money to like keep from losing my house and be able to buy diapers and those kind of things. It was never, you know, obviously I was hoping like, man, you know, I get to do this. I just want to make a living being a musician and doing something I like to do. But for it to turn into what it has, I don't know. Maybe I was just kind of naive to the point of thinking that it could ever become this. Like, I was very much small potatoes going, I need like $5,000. So I need to make $5,000 today. Somehow, how does this happen? You know, it was more of that. It was like survival.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Big and Rich co-wrote that song.
Dude, they co-wrote Hicktown. They co-wrote Why, which was my first number one, which was my second single. They co-wrote Amarillo Sky, which was my third single. And then John Rich, I think, was a co-writer on Johnny Cash, which was my fourth single. So John Rich wrote my first four singles. And Kenny, I think, was a writer on the first three, and he might have been on Johnny Cash as well. So.
Did you interact with them?
Yeah, those were my boys back in the day. So we were just, you know, I used to go watch them do the Music Mafia stuff, and I kind of ran with some of those guys back in the day, and used to write with John Rich. And so, yeah, I mean, I was kind of, those were my buddies, and so they were, you know, they were hot at the time. John was writing. I mean, he was the hottest writer in town, and so we had a lot of these songs I was cutting demos on. And so, you know, when I got my record deal, it was just like those demos became the album.
If you could undo a trend or technology that's in the industry now, what would you do?
Social media. Across the board. Get rid of it.
Yes. Okay. I don't even need to
That's going to be a very unpopular answer. But I just think social media, when used in the right way, is great, right? I mean, when it's used in the right way, it's amazing. But like anything, you know, people take advantage of stuff and they turn it into something it wasn't intended to be. And it's just, to me, it's done. I don't know. I just think you know, you see people, they just can't get out of their phones now. They're just, you know, and they're so oblivious to what's going on in the outside world that it drives me crazy. So people wonder why I don't post any more than I do on Instagram and those kind of things. It's like I post, but it's like I don't live on that thing. So if I could get rid of something, it'd probably be that.
Other than tractors at the ranch, what's the most expensive automobile the Aldeans own?
Oh, God. I don't know, man.
I mean,
I got my truck and then I have like a fun car.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's a Ferrari.
Yeah,
but it's not like a brand new one. I actually bought it used, but
I seen it though. I seen it in the background once in a while.
It's cool. But yeah, my wife's a big car lover too. So she's you know, we always have, you know, some pretty cool cars. And I always have like my daily driver, which is my truck, and then my little fun car if it's nice outside and I want to like, you know, rip around somewhere.
Bring the Rari next time, man.
I almost brought it today, actually.
Stop it!
Yeah.
Come on,
next time I'll bring it for you.
I've never even gotten to sit in one. All right,
Me either until I bought this thing.